Hey, welcome back everyone. Okay, so today we're talking about equations and slopes. We've talked about direct variation, and this will be very similar to direct variation with a few modifications. One, the line does not have to go through the origin, as you can tell. So let's get some vocabulary in first. First, x-intercept. The x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis, and that's when y does equal 0. The y-intercept, you guessed it, it's where the line crosses the y-axis. And you'll notice that's also where x equals 0. So a linear equation that we're going to be working with is known as y equals mx plus b. It's called the slope-intercept form. So here we are. We have an equation. You guys know how to graph this from section 1. We pick a couple of points. Hope you don't mind, I only did 2 this time. And I get a straight line. If I want to, I could find the slope. I've got my 2 points. I've got x1, y1, x2, y2. I've got my formula. I plug them in. I get the slope. Hey everyone, guess what the slope is? It's -2. Notice what else is -2. So what we notice in the slope-y-intercept form is that the first number right next to the x is the slope. So we can always find the slope if the y is isolated. So, do you know what the slope is here? You guessed it, 5, because that's the number in front of the x, the coefficient in front of the x when y is isolated. What if y isn't isolated? Well, this is why we did chapter number 1. So we can always use our algebra rules in order to isolate the variable. In this case, we want to isolate y. So we go minus 4x, we get our 0 pair, y equals -4x plus 15. And what do you know what the slope is? -4. You got it, the coefficient in front of the x. Pretty easy, right? Can we make it a little bit trickier? Sure. Now you got to do a two-step equation. But you guys know how to do two-step equations. Subtract 7x, 0 pair. Divide by -2, divide by -2. And then make sure -2 is divided into both the -7 and the 12. So I end up getting 7/2 x plus -6, and the slope would be 7/2. Not bad, huh? Okay, so from here, let's go back to our original line. We had 0, 4, we had 1, 2. And there's our line. We know the slope is -2, but check it out. Where does this line cross the y-axis? Right there at 4. So this equation is called the slope y-intercept form because it has the slope right before the x and it has the y-intercept right here. Can we find the slope and the y-intercept? Sure. Slope is 5, y-intercept is 6. Excellent. If we don't have the y by itself, we make the y by itself. It's easy peasy, quick and easy. Two-step algebra. And our slope is -2, and our y-intercept, b, is 3. So how can we use this in a graph? Sorry, I had one more. Notice, in this situation, the slope is -1 because it's -1 times x, and then there's nothing being added on. That's why b is 0. Here you go, two-step algebra, isolate the variable, and you end up getting the slope of 7/5 and y-intercept is 2. Alright, so how can we use this? That's what I want to say. Really? Another one? How many do I need? All right, how are we going to use this? That's what I wanted to say. We have y equals mx plus b. So if you have the equation y equals 3x plus -2, you can make a t-table and you could figure out 3 points and then graph it and it'll work out great. But just so you know, you already have 1 point. You know where this is going to cross the y-axis. So check it out. It crosses the y-axis at -2. There's our first point. And you have the directions to the next point because the slope tells you 3/1. Slope is easy and fun. Just remember, rise over run. And you got your next point. And you've got your graph. Notice, you could continue on. Up 3 over 1, you're back on the line. It works out so much easier than having to do all that adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Here's another one. Where's it going to cross the y-axis? You got it, -1. What are the directions to the next point? Rise 3, run 4. Rise 3, run 4. You got your next point. And you are done. Isn't that a lot easier than having to do the double T table? It's a great shortcut. Let me give you one more so you guys can see what it looks like. All right. Question. What's the slope? Oh, excuse me. We're going to cross the y-axis at 2. What's the slope? The slope is 1, or 1 over 1. Rise 1 over 1. And you got your points. Once again, I hope you noticed that the slope is consistent. Rise 1 over 1. Rise 1 over 1. We're back on the line. All right, guys, this is how we're going to be able to do this. Great trick, and I hope you guys liked it. If you got any questions, make sure to let me know. Have a great day, everybody.